Y'all, so let me start this video out by saying I am so happy that Mercury retrograde is over. Like, I'm not sure if you guys have realized how crazy things in your life have been for some time. That was because of Mercury retrograde. As of today, May 3rd at 4:22 p.m., I'm happy to tell y'all that Mercury retrograde has ended. Woo! So that means good things are going to be coming your way. If you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that pretty little red subscribe button down there so you can get your life. Turn those notification bells on so you can be on my notification squad so you know when your girl posts. In today's video, we are going to discuss what are flight attendant bases. I am going to address 5 things surrounding flight attendant bases that you guys have hit me up in my DM, because you know it goes down in the DM. You guys have messaged me and y'all want to know the scoop on the bases, and I got it for you. So let's just jump right into it. So what is a flight attendant base? Well, essentially a flight attendant base is where your trips originate and where your trips end. So think of it as your hub. I am based in New York City, as you guys know, so this is my base. Here in New York City, we cover 3 airports: JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark. Some people are confused and they think because I'm New York based, I only fly out of JFK. That is not true. Well, we are responsible for covering 3 airports, as I just told you. But we have the flexibility to swap and drop trips so that they originate out of that one airport of our choice. We have our Newark lovers, we have our JFK lovers, and then you have me. I absolutely love LaGuardia, but I will fly out of JFK if it's an international or a trip that I really want to do. I've flown out of Newark just one time. Now, some people live at their base, like myself. I lived in New York City before I went to train with my airline. Some people, once they graduate, they come in and they rent an apartment with friends. Some people, you know, will stay in crash pads. Some stay at hotels. The hotels that they stay at typically are hotels that give great overnight rates for crew, so that's always an option. And some people commute. Some will commute up to base on the day of their trip, which I don't recommend because a lot of people have ran into issues, and some people will commute in the day before. So if you are a commuter, that is just something that you have to kind of check out the flight schedules. Commuters are not only limited to commuting on their airline. Let's say, for example, I was a commuter and I had to make it to Atlanta, but there were no flights available. I have the flexibility to go and get an American Airlines flight or United flight, but those privileges are usually something that comes after being with your company for a period of time. Okay, y'all, so the second question that I'm going to address surrounding bases is how to choose a base. How do you choose a base? Is it something that's given to you, or is it something that you're able to choose from? Well, for me personally, I was offered New York, Detroit, Minneapolis, Boston. I feel like there's one more in there, I can't remember. But I'll tell you this, if I hadn't started training in February, because I told you guys in previous videos that I was actually going to go to training in April. Had I went to training in April, I would not have had New York as an option because only a certain number of people are allowed into the base. So luckily I went to training in February because New York was an option, and like I'm already a New Yorker, I was already living here, so I wanted to be based at home. Now, we were given choices. Sometimes the airline will give you choices, and sometimes, you know, if there's nothing left, like I had someone tell me that they were only limited to Minneapolis, so they were just all grouped and pushed to go to Minneapolis. So unfortunately, you know, sometimes you are assigned a base, sometimes you're given options, and particularly if you are in a language of destination, an LOD speaker, they will assign you to the base. You may get some options, but the options are usually much slimmer than the people who are non-LOD. One of my subscribers recently just hit me up, hey girl, and she told me that she is an Italian speaker and they sent her to Atlanta. My roommate was a Spanish speaker and they sent her to LA. She didn't have an option for New York. So it just depends on if you're LOD or non-LOD, what the options are and really where the necessity is. the base selections are given to you based on the needs of the company, you know? So again, you said, hey, I'm flexible. So that doesn't mean you're gonna be based at home. And if you actually look at some of the options that the company of your choice or the company that you're looking to work with gives, you may not even have a base at your home. So some people are a little confused and they think the base is where, you know, they think the base is like where they commute from. So that's two different things. So you may commute from Dallas, Texas, but your base may be New York City. So again, that means you're taking a flight or flights, depending on, you know, the connections, or if there's a direct flight, you're taking transportation like an airline to get to your base. So just understand the difference between a commuter versus like a base. Commute and a base is two different things. Okay, now let's talk junior bases versus senior bases, because some people also have the misconception that senior bases are, you know, only for like people who have been with the company for like 10 or 20 years. Well, no, with the airline that I work for example, New York City and Minneapolis are junior bases. And something like, let's say LA or Cincinnati, those are senior bases. But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't be able to be based there. Now maybe Cincinnati, because I don't really know what the last seniority is to get in there. And Hawaii is also super senior. But my seniority in the company that I work for, there are my classmates, they are like a few numbers below me, and they got into LA within like a year. So again, it just depends on like how many people are transferring out versus how many people are transferring in, what the trip structures look like at that base, and what the needs are for the company. So just because, you know, I've been flying a little over 2 years, that doesn't mean that I can't get into LA. I wouldn't even try to get into Hawaii, but I do have a friend who is like 6 months under me, and she was able to do like a 1 month transfer. So that's also an option. You can like you can always put in for a transfer somewhere and try it out for like a month to see what you think and see if it's actually somewhere where you would want to be based. Number 4, I had someone ask me if the pilots and the flight attendants actually report to the same base. Yes, we do. There are New York based pilots, there are Atlanta based pilots, and all of the other bases. Their lounge is actually just a little bit down further than ours. So yes, flight attendants and pilots are based at the same place, because of course, how are we going to leave the airport if we don't have a pilot or a first officer? Well, you know, I always tell the pilot, I'm like, listen, if you need backup, if you need me to fly this plane, just let me know. So I guess I could fly the plane, you know, if they don't show up. And the 5th thing that I want to address is that even though you may be based somewhere out of training, that doesn't mean that you have to stay there forever. I'll never forget, there was like a group that had graduated, and literally they were eligible because of when they graduated, and with the transfer period, they were able to put in their transfers right away. So a lot of them got into Atlanta pretty quick, and they were so happy because that's home for them. Like, I totally get it. You know what I'm saying? But just understand that you can always put in for a transfer, and never stop putting in that transfer until you get the base that you want. Because with the transfers, it always tells you like the cutoff. Like, for example, it'll say they transferred people in until seniority number 21,524. If your number is 525, you know, like, dang, I just missed it by 1. But if I keep putting it in, I'll actually get it next time, hopefully. So just understand that, you know, a base is where your trips are starting and ending. It doesn't mean that you have to live there. You can totally commute, but just be very, very careful. I think, again, some people are a little confused with what a base means, but a base is nothing more than kind of like your home for when you're starting and ending, if that, you know, to put it in simplest terms. So I hope that this has addressed what you guys wanted to know regarding bases and all of that good stuff. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and always drop those questions down below. Let me know if I can help you guys with anything else. All in all, I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Continue to stay beautiful from the inside to the out. Let your light shine, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!